Well, it wouldn't be a Tennessee football offseason without a little bit of drama, man. Last year we found ourselves dealing with some off the field issues as a fan and obviously as the team with Boo Carter and everything that ensued with him. Obviously, he remained on the team and played last year, if you want to call what he did playing. But he's no longer with us now. Fast forward to the off season that we're currently in, and it's almost like we're having some deja vu, if you will.
Yeah,
A little deja vu, Mike.
yeah,
We're dealing with another situation where we've got a player on the team, Chaz Coleman, edge rusher that we got out of the portal from Penn State. Everyone that covers Tennessee football has been covering this over the weekend, and obviously we're recording now and just now getting to it. The current state of the situation is still kind of unknown. It has been reported that he's been dismissed from the team. It's been reported that he's back in Knoxville, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's with the team or working out with the team. From my understanding, he has missed, if if not the entirety of it, the majority of spring practice with the football team and all the workouts and things of that nature. So, like I said to begin this thing, it wouldn't be a Tennessee offseason without some drama. Mike, why does this keep happening to us, man? I mean, why do we always have to deal with the BS really from
yeah.
players that we've plucked out of the portal or even just guys that we recruited out of high school? I mean, it's always something, man. It just seems like it's always something.
Yeah, man. You don't want to like jump straight to conclusions without confirmations yet, because obviously, I feel like there's a lot of things out there, but it's just one of those things. It does feel very Boo Carter like,
Yeah.
maybe it could be different, man, and it may not end up being a thing. But it just has that kind of feel to it, that all too familiar feeling we had last year now happening again. Obviously, Chaz Coleman's would be a big player to have on defense, man. I mean, I think he was what second on our NIL,
Yeah.
estimated NIL value that we'd look up. He was one of those big guys from the portal that we had acquired, and so it's kind of like, man, it's just tough to always have to keep dealing a little bit with this, off season drama. But yeah, hey, welcome back from the beach, man, and hope you enjoyed your vacation. Welcome back to East Tennessee, where we got this going on. We got a little drama for you. So, um, but yeah, it's just confusing, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the coach that had former coach that had said something, I guess, on a podcast that kind of got that this stirred up and fired up, and it's kind of like, did he leak in some information that maybe just hasn't been known and wasn't supposed to be known yet, or
Right.
did he get some misinformation? You know what I mean? And it's kind of time will tell here, and I'm sure shortly we'll start figuring more stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, we post these the next morning after we record. Tonight in the morning, something may come out by the time this comes out. So
Right.
um, it's just it is discouraging, kind of because regardless if there's voluntary practices going on right now and stuff like that, I would imagine that someone who was transferring onto the team, yeah, is familiar with the system of defense that we're going to be using, but it it's a concerning that that he's not been there for a lot of it. You would think that when you're transferring into a new team, you want to be there with the team. You want to be there as much as possible. Now there may be some things off field going on, and if there truly is just some things he's needed some time to work out some stuff to get ready for it, then I wish him the best, obviously, and don't want to overlook those type of things um, if something's going on. Um, but here we are again. We're in off season. Here we are in June now, talking about some potential drama leading up to the season.
Yeah.
And he may very well be on the field, man. But like
Yep.
we've said it kind of before, when you start hearing a lot of rumors of things, there's usually something going on.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
no matter it may be. My hope is that this is just getting blown out of proportion and it's not nearly as bad as it sounds. I hope
Same.
that the whoever said this was misinformed about something. Um, and just hadn't got the full extent of what was really going on, and maybe it'll just blow over and not be a big deal at all. That's what I truly hope happens. But
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, anytime you've got a player, like you said, we plucked him out of the portal, and we
yeah,
paid him, you know, quite a bit of money to come to Tennessee. I mean,
yeah,
whether or not he got all that money up front or not, it's up for debate. But I mean, I've heard stories that he hasn't got all the money up front, and they were going to give him the
yeah,
rest in the fall or whatever the case may be. But even then, I mean, he's going to make big time money at Tennessee, and obviously Josh Heupel and the defensive staff with Jim Knowles now being the coordinator and the reason why we even have Chaz
yeah,
Coleman in the first place. You would like to think that they see something in this kid or know something about him to want him that bad to pay him that kind of money.
yeah,
Any time you've got a big time player on your team, man, I mean, you got to hang on to him. I mean, I know locker room cancer and all of that stuff is real, and you bring negative energy into the locker room, and it could bring the whole team down, so on and so forth. But if this
yeah,
guy truly is just dealing with some sort of personal issues, like you said, I know for a fact that all these colleges and all these football teams, you know good and well that they offer, mental health counseling and personal
yeah,
counseling and have all the tools and resources in the world to get these guys on the right track and keep them in the right mindset. You know good and well that all that stuff's available to them. There's been a number of things that I've read, Mike, personal issues, mental health issues, homesickness was even thrown out there. He does have a history of vertigo. There could be lingering vertigo symptoms, and that's what he's dealing with. These are all things that have been listed as reasons why he hasn't been
yeah,
around or been wherever he's been. And, it could be a situation where some of this is getting blown out of proportion. And maybe for the sake of just his personal life and his personal situation, the university isn't coming out and being like, "Hey, yeah, he's off the field dealing with mental health issues." I mean, each of us have a right to our own privacy, especially when it comes to our physical being or sicknesses that we're dealing
mhm,
with or mental issues that we're dealing with. But at the end of the day, if you have an obligation and you have a contract with the school, there has to be some sort of level of responsibility. I mean, regardless of what you're dealing with. I know that sounds maybe a little blunt or a little harsh, but it's the reality of the situation. I mean,
yeah,
you made a comment today that really hit home with me when we were talking in person, and you said, this is really becoming more like a business, much like the NFL is.
yeah,
When you're getting paid this kind of money, there has to be some sort of return on the investment, so to speak. You can't just show up
yeah,
when you want, do what you want, because, like I said, there's more than enough resources at the University of Tennessee to help Chaz Coleman go through whatever it is that he's potentially going through, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I agree, man. And yeah, I do. I think because then you just leave a lot of things up to question, and
Right.
and maybe they were trying to keep some things quiet. And maybe whoever said something about this, um, obviously stating that he shouldn't have been stating this at this point in time, even if it is going to lead to like him being released from the team. Clearly, that was not meant to be said. Um,
Right.
you know, the world we live in now, man, with the internet and podcasts and everything that is out there, looking for sources, looking for information. It unfortunately gets out. But I would imagine that at some point, you know, Heupel's probably going to try to keep away from it as long as he can. But at some point, the way it's blowing up here, when you look stuff up, something's going to have to announcement's going to be made. Something's going to have
Yep.
to clear the air a little bit about what's going on. And that seems to be the key, man. Even on all these podcasts, all these other things that I've looked at, is I don't think anyone truly knows what's going on. Um, and it's more drama. It's more Tennessee drama. Kind of went through that little spell with it last year with Boo Carter. Um, and then you got drama like when Nico was leaving. I mean, there's just every season here lately is having some type of drama
Yep.
leading into to the season. It seems like I just would like to have a nice off season, man, or we could just be like, oh, the team's doing great. We've had great, um, players coming into the team. and expect a good season. That's all. I just want to have a nice off season like that for once. But
Yep.
hey, maybe this will be the only thing, and then maybe it'll clear up. But
Yep.
um, obviously, there's something going on. I mean
Yep.
that seems to be the general consensus there on that. But what I don't know. I don't know that
Right.
anybody does at this moment. So
Yeah. And obviously, when you start hearing stuff like this, I mean, the fans, we're on the outside looking in. So, I mean, we're never
yeah,
going to know the full story. I mean,
right,
realistically, there's things out there even about the Nico situation that happened. And we
yeah,
never got a clear cut, definitive explanation of that. Same with Boo Carter. So we're never going to truly know what happened or what is happening with this situation. But
right,
I can see fans now, any sign or any speculation or story that's written in this realm is going to automatically have the fan base questioning the loyalty of Chaz Coleman,
yeah,
questioning whether or not he wants to be here, whether or not he deserves to be here. Um,
yeah,
as a fan base, I mean, the collective and the donors, all that stuff are the reason why these players get to come to the university. And dudes, there has also been some Instagram photos of Chaz Coleman, and you and I looked at those today. They're pretty
yeah,
comical. Um,
yeah,
they look like the cover to a rap album or something like that. He's
yeah,
got money lined up his arms, and he's like
yeah,
holding money to his head like this. You know, when all of this stuff's being talked about, and then you post pictures online like that, I
yeah,
mean, you can't be too homesick with a wad of cash in your hand. You're
yeah,
not dealing with very many mental issues with the wad of cash that the Tennessee Volunteers University just gave you. I mean,
yeah,
you start to fold all that into everything, and the fan base starts to turn on you, and then
yeah,
even if it was a situation that was blown out of proportion, that taste in the base's mouth is just left there, and it's a
yeah,
bad taste. You know what I mean? So, um,
yeah, and
regardless of what happened with Boo Carter, he did come back and play on the team. But the
yeah,
entire season, man, the fan base was just like, should have let him go. He shouldn't
yeah,
be on the team. We don't need him. And we're talking about a high caliber, potentially, if he had his head screwed on straight, you're looking at a potential All American type of player in Boo Carter.
yeah,
And anytime you have the
oh yeah,
opportunity to turn the page and rewrite the book and hold
yeah,
on to someone like that on your team, dude, you've got to do it. And that's the situation we're faced with here, man. I want nothing more than to have Chaz Coleman on this team, and I hope
yeah,
whatever the situation is gets rectified quickly. The quicker
yeah.
the better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, I mean, the Tennessee fan base can be harsh. So as soon as, they
Yeah,
can take like with Joey Aguilar last year, they can take you in and you be their guy, But then at the same time, they can quickly let things, especially first impressions and stuff, when you come there, and but even then, they can quickly turn on you, and that
yeah,
is something you want to avoid, especially if he and I think it's not too late if he shows up and he plays well this year and he shows he wants to be there. I think that'll turn it
right,
around, but. And the
right,
timing of the post they made and stuff, I know it's really is what's so bad. It's just all
right,
this coming out right when he made that. Some people will get frustrated about the post, but at the same time, you've got these young guys, man. I mean, not been out of high school very long, man. Some only like a year or two, and
yeah,
you've given them quite a bit of money. So I don't really look at that and just head on that. That's just their age and like what they've got this money all of a sudden and they're kind of flashing it and
right,
it is what it is. I don't look at that as any real judgment on them or anything. I don't, judging for that. I feel like they're kids, man. At the end of the day, I
yeah,
mean, I know they're men, but it's
right,
they're
right.
very young. I mean, I think of me at 18, 19 years old or years old. You throw me like millions of dollars, or a couple mil, and I know he
I'm
hasn't had all that yet, but
right.
I don't know how I'd be mind blown with it, and
I'd
you
probably
know,
be doing the same thing, dude,
yeah,
taking pictures with it,
yeah.
flashing it around. I
So
mean, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's a maturity level that he hasn't reached
yeah,
yet. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So,
absolutely. Well, that being said. the timing of it's just terrible. And
Right, right.
maybe, and I'm sure he posted that not knowing this was all going to come out, but um, or maybe it had. I don't know. But
Yep.
the timing just really wasn't a good timing on that. But yeah, hopefully, I want him on the team, man. I hope that he's going to be there and do well for them. And I think at this point going forward, you just kind of have to you're going to have to show that you want to be there and show up, do the work, and just play
Yep.
football, man. Keep all the outside noise out and just stay focused. And I think that'll ease the fan base. I mean, it will.
Yep.
But like you said last year, Brew Carter, that was a little bit. It went a little farther along, and he
Yep.
did stay and he did play, but it just wasn't like this. Wasn't the same. And he's got so
Right.
much talent, but it was. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he wasn't even in it in his head there last year. He wasn't having the kind of
Right.
year it was expected to, and a lot of
Right.
that, I'm sure, was a lot of the noise outside of it. And he's probably was thinking he probably knew he was transferring. Uh, you
Yep.
know, honestly, throughout the season, he probably knew that he wouldn't be playing there the next year.
Yep.
So
And that's a
hopefully we
big
don't have another.
distraction, man.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, for sure. And hopefully we don't have another one of those cases. So
Right. Yeah, so we basically got to this situation because of the Doug Matthews thing, like we talked about earlier.
yeah,
Former assistant coach at the University of Tennessee.
yeah,
To give context to this, Doug Matthews coached at the University of Tennessee for 10 seasons, spanning from 1980 to 1989.
hmm
He was a running backs coach, defensive coordinator, all that good stuff. So all of this, like you said, Mike, sprung from a podcast that he was on called Big Orange Sundays. And basically, he used the word mutual dismissal between Tennessee and Chaz Coleman. Um, However, quickly after that, all of you all that follow us and listen to ball stuff all the time, you know the name Brent Hubbs and you know the name Austin Price. Those two guys are probably the biggest carriers of news or insiders of Tennessee football that we have as fans. And it says, obviously Doug Matthews was a guest on Big Orange Sunday and talked about Coleman was dismissed, but Brent Hubbs and Austin Price countered shortly thereafter online, reporting that Coleman was back in Knoxville on Friday, and technically, they used the word technically, which is a red flag in my opinion, technically still with the team, while his status remains a mystery. So we're looking at a situation, Mike, where, like we said to start this thing out with,
hmm
yes, it's been reported that he's back in Knoxville. Is he there because he's with the team? Is he there to get some belongings? Is he there to
right,
talk to the coaching staff? Is he, we don't know why he's there or any of this, but it just adds to the mystery. To be honest with you, man,
yeah,
it's just I know it's a lot of reiteration so far, but it's just so frustrating. Like we said to start the off season in a season
yeah,
where we're already in question about so much. Um,
yeah,
this is something that you don't need. You're trying to implement Jim Knowles' new defense, and you're hoping that the guys that have already been in that system that are coming along with him
yeah,
are going to like speed that process up, expedite the learning curve, or whatever the case may be. If there's any positive to Chaz Coleman's absence during this, it's that he is already familiar with Jim Knowles' defense. So if
yeah,
he has missed some practices or whatever the case is, I mean, yeah, you should be there. Yeah, you should continue to get better and all that stuff. But if he has missed some practices, it might not be the end of the world as far as learning a new system.
right,
But I'm a firm believer in being a team player, putting the team first. And by all means, yes, he should definitely be there. But it
agreed.
just it leaves so many questions, Mike. And we follow Tennessee so closely, and we're frustrated as a fan base. I'm sure across the entire country, man, all teams deal with this. I'm sure that it happens,
Yeah,
especially in this landscape of college football. We just don't hear about it because we don't really look into other teams. But
right,
I can imagine that there's a lot of coaching staffs and a lot of fan bases out there frustrated during this time of the year. I can't imagine. I can't imagine dealing with these types of situations, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, because I mean, it goes in the national spotlight. I mean, people all over, especially in Knoxville and the fan base of Tennessee, it's got to be the talk for a little bit until we figure out what's going on. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting, man, and interesting what you said about like them guys kind of doubling back and being like, well, technically, I mean, that does throw up some red flags that there's obvious information out there for something.
yep,
Maybe some wrong information did get misinformed, and they're like, whoa, wait a second, it's not been official yet, but it kind of makes you wonder. It really does, and I'm sure we will find out something in the coming days, um, shortly about what's going on um, down there. But it does, man. I mean, like I said, hopefully he wants to be there, and hopefully he wants to come to Knoxville and play football in Tennessee, man. I think
we'd
that's
love to have
something.
him.
Yeah, uh, I think that's something that you kind of look at too, is an area and like getting players to come in, wanting players who want to be there, and what do you have to offer, and that could go even into the city, man. Like, what does Knoxville have to offer? What do some of these places, have to
Right,
offer to these players that are coming in? So, um,
right.
you definitely don't want to lose players when you get them committed to you and get deals done.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that you and I've talked about, man. Is just the university and the history and the
Yeah,
culture and all of that stuff, the tradition,
yeah,
that stuff means something
yeah.
to the fans and to ex players and stuff like that. It almost feels like, Mike, that we're starting to transition, or we already have transitioned into a generation, I guess, of players where those traditions and those and that culture and the history and the allure, I guess you could
Mhm.
say, of a university like Tennessee. Some of that stuff to this newer generation, it almost seems like it doesn't matter anymore, Mike. And that's a problem, really. Do you get that same feel like some of the newer generation guys don't really look at that stuff as much as
Yeah, I
they
think.
used to?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely looking. They have more options, and so they're looking at the areas they're going to be in and what they're. Now, I think once a player steps foot on Neyland Stadium on a big game day, and especially a night game, and there's a rocking atmosphere, and the fan
Oh yeah,
base is going nuts. I mean, I think that matters to them. I think that hits
yeah,
hard then. Once they get to that moment, but deciding to come there and even going to the games, I mean, it's why they go to the games. So I think there's an aspect of that that still does really matter as
yeah,
players. I mean, we're fans, but I'm saying as players, I feel like that's part of the game, man. That's part of the
right,
feeling you're going to have while you're out there on the field. So I think true football players, man, that's going to really matter. But we do have players with a lot of options. There are other stadiums that's going to give them an electric atmosphere. Um, so you got to start looking too, and getting these players to come in. What does your city have to offer? What does the
right,
area around have to offer to these players as well? And it and this is not. I love East Tennessee, man. And I think, and obviously Knoxville has tons of people moving. As one of the top places people are moving right now. Families coming in, people coming in for uh, whether it be the lower cost of homes overall. I know right now people are like from the area, it's gonna be like these home prices have been nuts, but overall, like from some of these places people are coming from, that's lower cost of
yeah,
living, no state income tax, um,
yeah,
things like that that just kind of appeal to families in nicer areas, maybe in some of the areas in East Tennessee. I mean, so good places to raise a family, and then
yeah,
that's awesome. And so we're not downing Tennessee, Knoxville, or East Tennessee, or any of that, but
right,
we're talking about players that are coming in. What is there to offer to them around the area, And
yeah,
I mean, I know you got downtown, you got the college atmosphere, you got different bars and places to go and things to do. I mean, Knoxville's got Top Golf. It's got
yeah,
activities, and I don't mean that, but what those are some positives right there that I'm naming. Maybe some things that it could offer to them.
yeah,
I guess they're close to anybody that likes the outdoors. There's hiking. There's you got Gatlinburg close by. You got Pigeon Forge close by. big tourist attraction, you know. So there's definitely some things, but you know, you're comparing things to like to some of these players that are like Miami, places like that where there's a whole lot of things around, you know. So you definitely got to think
Yeah,
about what does Knoxville have to offer to get some of these players to want to come in as well? Because not everybody's
yeah,
from East Tennessee. Not everybody loves the mountains. Not everybody love, you know what I mean? There's different
yeah.
things that they might be looking for in a place. And I would imagine in today's time with the options they have and being able to transfer and go places, the area matters. How close are they
Yeah.
to their family? You know, I mean, there's a lot of things can go play in the factor of
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right, man, on all that. You hit it on the head, dude. I mean, obviously, Tennessee, from a recruiting standpoint, if you're wanting to pluck players from the Carolinas or Georgia or Alabama, I mean, you're right there in the center of all that. Virginia, West Virginia. I
Yeah,
mean, you don't have to go far to recruit big time players from that region. Um, and you're in the SEC. I mean, that in itself
hmm,
draws a lot of attention to young players being recruited or even thinking about hitting the portal from other conferences. So
yeah,
you have all that behind you, and it's a good thing, obviously. And all the things that you named are great things. But I mean, it's like something that keeps coming into my mind, Mike, is you know if a player is getting recruited out of high school and on the board is Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Texas, whatever you just say that
yeah,
this player has narrowed down those options. Is Tennessee now? Don't get me wrong. I know we've had some recent success and all that stuff, but think about how long, Mike, that it's been since Tennessee has actually, truly, consistently been in that
yeah,
national spotlight in a national contention type of situation where, hey, you come to Tennessee, you're going to win national championships.
yeah.
Coach Heupel
Wow.
can't go to some kid's living room and look him in the eye and say, "You come to Tennessee, you're winning national championships."
Yeah,
And if winning is all that these guys are wanting, which in the sport of football or any sport for that matter, I'm a true believer that winning is matters over everything. I mean, you play the
yeah,
game to win the game. And Tennessee just hasn't had that reputation in so long that the generation of kids that are coming up now that are being recruited or even hitting the portal, they don't even know what it looks like for Tennessee to be successful.
yeah,
They may truly not even know that Tennessee ever was successful. I know that's a reach, but
yeah,
it could be true. You know what I mean? All
yeah,
they know is the Saban dynasty, the Kirby
yeah,
dynasty, the flashy uniforms in Oregon,
yeah,
the the beautiful beaches in Miami. I mean, that's what you and I are trying to talk about here.
yeah,
It's crazy, man. It's
yeah,
really crazy when you boil it down that much. But
yeah,
I think Tennessee overall probably has more disadvantages from a geographical standpoint than advantages. And that's just my
yeah,
opinion when it comes to reeling in
yeah.
recruits or portal players.
I agree. And you know, you brought up a good point when he's talking about that. It made me think about this is you do got to have, when you do have that disadvantage in that area, you've got to find success to make up for
Mhm.
that. Because
Right.
playing for Kirby Smart in Georgia, playing for Ohio State right now in Ryan Day,
Yep.
some of these big schools like that, dude, they could have nothing going on around them. They could be in the middle of nowhere. Um,
Yep.
you could just put them out in like Iowa somewhere, and if they had that success they were having and that type of coach and those that type of
Yep.
things, players are going to go there, and it shows. I
Yep.
mean, I've not been to Athens as far as in Georgia goes, and I've not been to Columbus. I guess Columbus is in Ohio, is where they're at, right? Ohio State. Um,
Yep.
I have been to Ohio though, and let me
Yeah.
tell you, they ain't a lot for that. You know, people can hate on me for that, but they ain't a lot going on in that state, man. It is just flat and boring, and players all over go to there for that.
And I
So
I'll I can say this firsthand. I've been to Tuscaloosa and
yeah,
there is nothing there. There
yeah,
is nothing. Then Bryant Denny Stadium, then
no,
nothing.
But everybody
That's
would want
it,
to go to
man.
Alabama, especially during the Nick Saban era and when they were winning championships. Bama's in
Right.
a weird spot. You got to be careful because you're only going to be able to ride that for what you had with Nick Saban
Right.
and what you had as a dynasty for so long before that starts getting forgotten. And I
Right.
remember a time when Alabama wasn't good at football, and when if that comes around again, you don't have a lot outside to offer for that. So,
Mm-mm.
but you
Nope.
can make up for those things by having success overall.
Exactly.
People will come
Exactly.
to you even if it's not um, the best town or the best things to do outside of it. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
um, and I think kind of boils down. That's what Tennessee needs to be able to do is keep.
Yep.
You know, we had some reset, but we need to make sure to keep finding more success and getting better and finding more success because then players will take that. And I think your dogs agree with me there, man.
Yeah, they're going nuts up there, man.
but
They
but
wanted to chime in a little bit on it.
exactly, man. Hey, we're dog lovers on this podcast, man. So
Oh yeah.
you
They
gotta let them
always make
talk
an
every now and then.
appearance.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right though, man. Tennessee can shorten that gap as far as recruiting and stuff
mm,
and being where they're located and the things to do by having success. You've got to turn that page, and it's really got to be consistent success, Mike. I mean,
yeah,
you can't just keep harping and reliving the 2022 season. I
yeah,
mean, as a fan base, yes, that was a magical season, and we've talked about it many a times on this podcast, and we'll
yeah,
continue to reference it in the future, I'm sure. But that you
yeah,
can't let the entire Josh Heupel era and this new modern age Tennessee
yeah,
football team, you can't let that 2022 season define this entire
yeah,
era right here of Tennessee football. You've got to
exactly.
use it as a building block and you've got to continue to find
Yeah,
success off of it. That's what great coaches do. That's what great dynasties do.
right,
Um, and you and I flirted with the concept of what if Heupel isn't the guy? What if Heupel was just that gap or that bridge to get
yeah,
out of the dark times to maybe build the foundation for the next guy to come through? Not saying
yeah,
fire Josh Heupel. I'm not saying that at all. Those are
yeah,
just things that start to pop into your head,
yeah,
and you know, hopefully, hopefully, I think we are on the right track, and it feels like we're on the right track, and
yeah.
the fan base is as strong as ever.
Oh yeah,
All the other sports are doing good. The you know we found success in men's baseball. You
yeah,
mentioned today, and I think you wanted to bring it up about the softball team. I mean, we're finding
yeah,
success in all aspects of sports in this school, and that has to mean something. That means there's a
yeah,
culture there beyond football, and if we can just
yeah,
hone in on it and capitalize on it,
yeah,
we'll be all right.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like you said, with all the sports and finding success in areas. I mean, even with basketball, man, we're finding ourselves. You know, we've made the Elite Eight three times. Yeah, we didn't get past that point, but we still were in the
Right.
Elite Eight three times. You know, the
There's
women's softball team I was talking about, they made the World Series tournament. Um, also a really cool walk-off home run win the other night. Now they played
Yep.
today. I didn't get to see if they won today or not, but they did
They
play today.
they did lose today, Mike. They lost to
Did they?
Texas.
Okay, gotcha. But you know they've still been having that success this year. You know,
Right.
and they really, I mean, as an athletic program, Tennessee has been getting a lot of success in all sports, man. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
seeing all their sports doing well. Um,
Even
in the
sports
last
that no
several
one
years.
watch.
Yeah, yeah. I
No
mean, there's sleuths out
disrespect.
there. No, no. And I mean, I think I've seen some random sports out there, man. Like
Right.
random things on like some Tennessee stuff within the last couple of years that I wouldn't have even ever known about and that have just like done well, you know. And it's not a knock on those either. They just weren't in the spotlight. It just
Right.
in, but you know, so it's just with football, you know. I know there's been some upside, but it's time. I want football to be really joining in all that. I want to, you know, I would like to see football follow up. And I mean, you know, can't help as a fan just want a natty so bad. You want to see it. And but you're
Right.
right. Definitely not saying, you know, fire Heupel or nothing, but it's you want to start seeing that success still and more of what we had in 2022 and more of those milestones being broken because you don't want to because you'll naturally start thinking in your head after a little while if we start having some more 8-5 or 7-5 8-4 type seasons and
Yep.
not making the playoffs, not making the SEC championship, you just start to think, well, maybe that kind of broke us through and ended a drought that we had for a long time and gave us a taste of success again, got us to the playoffs, once during that time, and maybe that was like setting it up. Those type of things you
Right.
start thinking about if it does go a while.
Yep.
Some Tennessee fans a lot sooner than others, as we know. And so, but yeah, I mean, I
Well,
think there's some positive things for sure going around Knoxville, and
yep.
we want to continue to see more of it.
Yep. Well, Mike, this is, and I'd say, here in the next few weeks or whenever, we'll have an episode about Eichel.
Yeah,
We've talked about him in the past and stuff like that, but maybe we should dedicate an entire episode just to Josh Heupel. But
yeah,
he's entering his sixth season this year as the Tennessee head football
yeah,
coach, and you know, how much time do you give a guy? I say
yeah,
if you keep finding success, even if it's small success, give him as much
yeah,
time as he needs. And that's what I like about this situation. At the first sign of adversity, they didn't just fire him and move on to the next
yeah,
guy. And I really commend that because you see a lot of that in college football now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I mean, realistically, Mike, I think it's been a good conversation.
yeah,
I don't really have anywhere else to go with it, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Just going back to the whole Chaz Coleman thing, I hope that situation gets rectified quickly.
yeah,
Um, we don't. I don't want to continue to have these deja vu feelings about every off season. I mean, we
yeah,
need to just have a smooth transition into the season with no distractions and all
yeah,
that good stuff. If you're still with us and you're listening to us, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't
yeah,
already. Share us with your friends, your family, what have you. As we start to get closer to the season, things are going to start really heating up. So
yeah.
we look forward to some of those crazy episodes. We appreciate your all support for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've really been getting a lot of you know, uh, good feedback and things happening on TikTok too, which we do appreciate. Um,
Yep.
but if you are on there and you see us on there too, make sure to follow us on YouTube. You get more of an in-depth uh,
Right.
conversation about what we're doing, other than just a short 1 minute, 2 minute clip maybe on a topic. You kind of get to see because I've seen that a couple times where that we might have a little bit more explanation into what we were saying. So yeah, definitely
Yep.
make sure to follow us on there as well. It helps us on, but definitely appreciate people who are following us and starting to really engage a little bit. So we encourage
Yep.
comments and opinions and everything. We like I mean, we even respectfully argue, so we enjoy that. So, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
we really appreciate it. And Adam, man, it's been fun as always, man. And see you on the next one. See what interesting news we got, man. So hopefully we got good news coming up on the next one.
That's right. Mike, take care, brother.